Hey everyone, so today I want to talk a little bit about bad habits and what some bad habits might be. I'm sure you all can agree on when somebody says they're removing a bad habit, you'll probably think of drinking alcohol, which this is coffee, not alcohol, because I quit drinking alcohol on March 25th, 2021. So anyway, you think about quitting alcohol, quitting smoking, or quit eating junk food. These bad habits that we technically think of that are things we put into our body, or choices we make to be lazy or to exercise or not exercise, or to eat that McDonald's fast food burger or not. Those, of course, are bad habits, yes, and they're things that we can work on removing out of our life, and they're important, and it's important to recognize what you're doing that's not healthy for you physically and mentally. But it's also important to think about some bad habits you have as an individual. We all have them. We all have our quirks and our learned behaviors that have been drilled into us based on our genetics, our upbringing, our environment, and maybe like biology. I'm not quite sure, but it's a bunch of stuff that goes into it. It's not just like your parents and it's their fault that you're so full of bad habits. And it's not just you. Oh, it's just my fault I'm full of bad habits. And it's not just the people you surround yourself with. Oh, it's their fault. No, it's a combination of everything that you've experienced up to this point that has formed who you are as a person. Everything that I had been raised to think and believe and had experienced in my life, which is quite a lot. My parents were teen parents, and my parents were in physical abuse was part of my upbringing. Not my sister and me, but what we witnessed. Physical abuse was part of our childhood. We saw it, and I'm sure it impacted each of us, and I know it impacted each of us differently. And the funny thing is, though, is that a lot of kids will grow up and repeat those things. They'll get into relationships with abusive partners, even though they know damn well that they shouldn't, because they watched that as a kid and they knew how that felt, but they still do it. And those are the kind of bad habits I wanted to kind of reference today, because I think we overlook them as a society. I think that we don't talk enough about those bad habits of saying yes when we should say no. The bad habits of not knowing how to set boundaries and being confident with what works for us without apology to others. You should never apologize for saying no to somebody because it's something that doesn't feel right to you. Saying no is not mean, it's not rude, it's actually pretty healthy, and it's healthy for somebody to hear the word no sometimes. These kids, if they always grow up hearing the word yes, you're seeing what happens in society with people that have always heard yes or heard yes more than no. They just have a completely different mindset than those of us that grew up hearing the words no, or who were left home alone to fend for ourselves and figure out how to cook and how to take care of our siblings. Yeah, that kind of sucks that, someone had to grow up faster than they wanted to. But as you get into adulthood, you realize that those gave you the skills to be a more confident, independent person who gives no about what other people think or feel about you. You become more confident as a survivor, as a leader. So I like to twist those kind of experiences around and make them better. But I'm also an imperfect human being who makes horrible mistakes sometimes and who thinks she's doing what's best for her family, but turns out sometimes it's not what's best. But you don't know that until you look back. That's why they say hindsight is 20/20. So one of the bad habits I really realized that I had to work on was setting healthy boundaries and sticking to them, because I was really good at setting boundaries. I knew, okay, this is the type of person I should date. This is the type of person I should have around my kids. This is the type of family environment I want. I knew all of those things. But to actually implement and say, no, you are a person who does not fit that mold. Get that out of my life. I didn't do that. I just didn't want to hurt their feelings, or I just wanted to hang out with them once in a while because they were a cool friend. I just didn't foresee it being this big picture thing because it wasn't going to be a happy family. I knew that for more than once. With more than one dating experience in my life, I knew that was not going to mesh well together, but I just did it anyways. I kind of just let life happen to me, and because I did that, I hurt deeply. My kids got impacted, and a lot of bad happened because I just let life happen. I let my life go in the direction that somebody else just wanted. I let them manipulate my head and screw my head up so bad and my heart up, and it was horrible. And after it all happened, I realized that I had just been letting life life happened to me, and that's not me. I've never really been that person. I've been very proactive and very confident in my choices. In 2006, when I was sick all the time, pregnant with my second child, I knew that I could not keep my job and not miss a bunch of work. And so I resigned because I felt bad missing work. Even though I was pregnant and it was kind of obvious why I was sick, I didn't want to put my bosses through that. So I resigned and I came home and I knew I'd make money from the computer. That was in 2006, and now I'm in 2021, and I'm making a pretty good income on just about 20 to 30 hours a week, but I worked my butt off. So we'll get into that another day. But the point is that I was always so confident and proactive with my choices. And when I made a choice, I was confident with it. But during this particular stage where everything went kind of downhill, I never really felt confident with my choices. I just kept letting life happen. I got too tired, I got too weak, and I knew that a change needed to happen, but I couldn't be strong. And it wasn't until somebody in my life said, hey, this isn't like you, Brandy. You are stronger than this, and you are better than this. Basically, get your head out of here and come on, let's go. And that sentence right there, someone being very harsh to me, someone who I love and respect and admire, being that harsh to me, got me to realize that, oh, yeah, you know what? There's something that's more important than hurting this person's feelings. My children, my family, and my sanity were more important. So that's why I want you guys to take a moment and really look at some of the bad habits you have. That bad habit could be something as simple as saying yes to people when you should just say no. I know it's hard. You want to help everyone. If you're a kind person with a good heart, you want to help as many people as possible, but there is such a thing as helping somebody too much or trying to help somebody who doesn't really want help. You can only help those who really want to help themselves. Now, you can't define what they need help with. They need to define that. But you need to start saying no until that person is truly ready to make a change in their life, so that you know that your energy you put forth towards someone else is actually going to be going towards the better good of humanity or the better good of that person. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to dislike them. But you can say no to protect and love yourself. And it's good to do that. It's really good. I'm a big giver. I like to help everyone. But what I found was I was trying to help people that really weren't ready for my help. And all it was doing was making my heart hurt. It was depleting my energy for no productive good reason. And that's why I started saying no. I had to really separate myself from someone who I was taught to love without conditions and to always be there. Well, no, now I know I can love them from afar, but I don't need to help them all the time, because when I help them, it just depletes me more and it doesn't do anything different for them. They continue on that same destructive path, and I just couldn't be a part of that anymore. And that's some of those bad habits that you need to start thinking about and kicking the curb to. It's going to take time. It's taken me a little less time than I thought it would take to start being more confident with my no's and yeses. I've said before, I had the Best Yes book, and I actually thought I bought it, but I didn't. One of my clients gave me the book, and it's called The Best Yes. You can buy it on Amazon, and I think it's on Kindle too for an ebook, a digital book. It's probably on an audiobook, but The Best Yes, it's a Christian-based book, but it just taught me that one book. It's like less than 300 pages long. It taught me how to be more confident in saying yes and no for the right reasons. I really think down the full length of this path of a choice before I commit to a choice. It's been very helpful for me to address that bad habit of not sticking with my healthy boundaries. And that's the bad habit I want to address today. We'll get more into some other bad habits that I've removed from my life and replaced as the time goes on, because I don't like sharing things until I feel like that goal has been completely mastered. And when it comes to bad habits or addictions or anything like that, every day is a new work in progress. And so I believe that you have to practice something for quite a few weeks before it becomes a habit. And I can honestly say at this point, setting healthy boundaries, saying no when I should and yes when I should, have actually become a habit for me. It's addictive and I love it. And because I've been so good about doing that, I now get to volunteer an hour or two every week to help people who actually benefit from my help. You know, whether it's doing some work for them for free or talking on the phone with them or listening to them vent or rant in a messenger message. because I've been better at having these healthy boundaries to be a better human, I get to give back even more. And that is my ultimate goal in life, is to be able to help those that want to help themselves. If I can be their little crutch for a minute, or their shoulder, just while they're building their strength up, then that's fantastic. And because I was strong and setting those healthy boundaries and making sure that I don't let anyone in my life that sucks me dry in a bad way, and being better about picking my environment and being firm with what I need in my world, I have now boosted my confidence. I have gone from that setting boundaries and sticking with them to now moving to other habits, bad habits and things, and replacing them with better choices. It's almost like a good addiction, a positive addiction. Once you like get confident with this and you change this bad habit, then well, what else can I change and fix? Okay, that's done. What else can I? And it becomes this addiction of always constantly fixing yourself and working to be better today than you were yesterday. And while I've always been addicted to that and I've always been big about personal growth, I kind of got on this detoured route for a minute because I wasn't listening to my heart and my gut in life. So that's obviously the most important part, you guys. You need to do some soul searching and figuring out, what do you really want in life? You know, your kids are important, your spouse is important, your friends are important, but ultimately, what is it that you need and want in life? And if you can kind of sit down and figure that out, you'll then be able to revisit your habits, your daily actions and things you do and people you're around and people you say yes to. And you'll be able to figure out where you need to kind of pull back in and say, you know what, I'm going to say no to this. That's not really aligned with here where I want to be. And I hope my rambles help you. We will talk some more. But for now, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Peace out.